That's it. You're finally gone from my life, she declared. The company belongs to me now. My name is Silas Ward, and those were the words my wife spoke as the judge pronounced my sentence. 5 years behind bars for a crime I never committed. She actually clapped, in open court. I refused to turn and face her. I wouldn't grant her that victory. Yet I caught the reflection of her small, self-satisfied, perfectly composed smirk in the courtroom's glass panel. They claimed I had stolen money from my own business. Fabricated records, diverted cash to secret accounts abroad. The evidence trail was flawless. Far too flawless. Because I hadn't created any of it. She had. The bailiff stepped up with the handcuffs. Hands, he ordered, as though I were merely an inconvenience. While he drew my wrists behind me, I bent slightly toward my attorney and passed him a small folded note I'd hidden in my palm from the start of the trial. Nobody noticed. Not even her. The message inside was simple. Locate Michael Carter right away. Inform him that his only son is serving time on fabricated accusations. My wife has no clue about my true father. She believed I was finished. She believed she understood the man she'd married. She believed the chapter was closed. But she never inquired about my origins. She never imagined I might have a hidden safeguard. Prison itself wasn't the real penalty. Watching her seize control of everything I had created, that was the true punishment. I had launched Ward and Hunt Innovations from a humble garage. I poured years into programming, deal-making, and betting every dollar I possessed. She entered the picture only after the risks had passed, once the first major funding arrived. She claimed she wished to champion the vision. I appointed her chief financial officer. I placed my faith in her. She wedded both me and the enterprise. And evidently, she divorced both on the very same day. Even from incarceration, information reached me swiftly. The instant I was processed, she swapped the house locks, canceled every one of my logins, and released a theatrical video statement to the press. My husband's disloyalty shattered me, she declared, eyes dry yet voice trembling. But I will emerge stronger. The public cheered her on. Backers rallied behind her. She performed the role of America's heartbroken spouse, the resilient woman seizing command once more. She even shared a monochrome picture of the two of us, captioned, "Sometimes love turns into self-preservation." My attorney visited the following morning. I located him, he announced. Michael Carter. He hesitated. You're certain? He's really your father? I gave a single nod. He's prepared to meet, my lawyer continued. He's on his way by plane. I stared through the partition, expression blank. Excellent, I answered. Time to start. Michael Carter was far more than an influential executive. He was the Michael Carter, the elusive investor legend responsible for backing many of Silicon Valley's most valuable startups. Forbes had dubbed him the ultimate power broker. Few people today even knew his current appearance. But I knew. He came to see my mother annually. Discreetly. No publicity. Only quiet honor. She had extracted his vow never to step into my path unless I requested it. She refused to let his shadow eclipse the person I would become on my own. And I honored that vow, until this moment. He entered the prison's consultation room as though the space belonged to him. No security detail. No formalities. Simply Silas. I rose. Thank you for coming. He studied me for several seconds. Your mother would have expected nothing less. Then he took a seat and produced a substantial file. Here is the complete dossier on her, he stated. False identities. Transfers of funds. Secret holdings she never suspected could be followed. She considers herself brilliant, I remarked. Michael offered only a faint smile. She's sharp, but she's never competed against those who forge entire industries. My fingers curled tightly. She abandoned me to decay in here, I said. No, he replied softly. She placed you in a contained space. Now we convert it into our command center. We proceeded carefully, silently. Michael's network never stormed in. They slipped inside. We began with the money flows. Not through breaches, but through exacting accuracy. Her finances were shielded, true, but her arrogance was exposed. She had begun redirecting corporate money into a discreet advisory business registered under her original surname. Michael acquired that business through proxies. By the point she detected someone tracking her movements, her private refuge had become ours. Next, the staff. After the verdict, she dismissed every person loyal to me. Yet loyalty doesn't vanish with termination notices. Gradually, quietly, They contacted us, supplying records, irregularities, warning signs. She's reorganizing the entire structure for an imminent sale, one former colleague informed my lawyer. Overseas purchaser. Tight schedule. My jaw tightened. She intended to strip the business and disappear. Michael's tone remained even over the line. We allow her to reach the negotiation stage, but we select the purchaser. All the while I maintained a low profile inside. Routine. Polite. I fulfilled the role she had scripted for me. Until one morning the warden delivered an unmarked letter. No sender. Only a single line in her familiar script. I regret that it came to this. I read it twice, then let a slow smile form. She assumed the conclusion was already decided. 2 months afterward, a fierce auction erupted, precisely as Michael had orchestrated. My wife imagined she was masterminding the transaction of her lifetime, offloading our company to a major Chinese technology group at almost twice its worth. Magazine profiles already hailed her as a bold leader thriving amid crisis. She failed to notice that the leading contenders were both illusions, dummy corporations funded by Carter Holdings. She wasn't relinquishing the business. She was delivering it straight back to me. She scheduled the closing for Thursday, my lawyer reported at our regular visit. City Center. Complete executive suite. Final approval. And she remains unaware? I inquired. He shook his head. Your identity appears only on the last sheet. You'll sit in that conference. To her, you're merely the acquiring side's counsel. I gave one nod. In my cell, I rehearsed restraint. I concentrated on each inhale, each second. I would not enter that room to shout accusations. I would enter to witness her legally transfer it all to me. And then, the evening prior, another envelope arrived via a guard. Not from her. It held a photograph. Her. Standing beside someone I knew at once. My former co-founder. The man I had regarded as a sibling. The image struck like a muffled explosion. It wasn't grainy or coincidental. It was sharp, deliberate. Her palm resting on his chest, both wearing intimate smiles. As though betrayal wasn't merely something they shared, but something they had jointly constructed. It clarified every detail. Why the electronic traces aligned so neatly. Why he offered no defense at trial. Why he remained mute as the company's story pivoted. He wasn't an innocent bystander. He was her partner in the scheme. She isn't merely cashing out to flee. I told Michael across a protected connection the next dawn. She's securing his allegiance using my life's work. Michael showed no surprise. We had our suspicions about him. Now it becomes deeply personal. That can be an advantage. I examined the picture once more, this time with clarity instead of rage. Ensure both attend that meeting, I instructed. Give him no warning. They will be present, he confirmed. He's handling the concluding paperwork. They anticipate an international entity. I breathed out deliberately. Perfect. I sought no dramatic courtroom reckoning. No tabloid vengeance. I desired the sort of quiet that lingers in someone's mind forever. And tomorrow I would observe them step into an agreement engineered to ensnare them with their own pen strokes. The conference room sat behind tall glass, overlooking the skyline. Dawn light bounced from metal and stone. I arrived ahead of schedule, dressed in a crisp navy suit. Unassuming, anonymous, simply another attorney for the purchasing group. She entered 10 minutes afterward, glowing in white. Poised, artificially modest. Her shadow trailed behind. My ex-partner, chuckling at whatever she murmured. His fingers brushed her lower back possessively, as if he had earned what I had sacrificed to create. Neither spared me a glance. The purchaser's representatives were already positioned, every one from Michael's circle. Elite educated expressions, neutral expressions, expensive writing instruments. They opened the documents methodically. Pages turned. The conditions appeared exceptionally favorable. Lavishly so. She smiled broadly. Almost seems illicit, she quipped lightly. The primary attorney inclined his head. One final signature remained. Last sheet. She seized the pen, held it for effect. Then, she spotted it. My name. Silas. Ward, she uttered, bewildered. Why does his name appear here? Her associate bent closer, reading. Color fled his features. Then I spoke, composed, measured. You have just transferred your majority ownership. To me. The space went still. I didn't return to level charges, I went on. I returned to reclaim what you attempted to take. Then I met his gaze directly. Both of you. She remained upright, grip locked on the pen. He was perspiring already. The legal staff stayed mute, simply watching. Michael's team remained composed professionals. No reaction. You cannot do this, she managed at last, tone fracturing. This constitutes deception. You misled us. No, I answered evenly. You simply failed to pose the correct inquiries. I pushed a file across the surface. A soft impact. A chronological record of her monetary activities. The hidden overseas holdings. The routed payments to my ex-partner's advisory front. And you, I said, shifting toward him. You exploited our jointly developed software to conceal those movements. His lips parted. Shut again. This is no trap, I stated. It is simply payback. You voluntarily supplied every piece I required, complete with official signatures. Her tone splintered. You arranged all of this. I offered no contradiction. I merely regarded them both and said, I arranged nothing. I waited. You presented me with 5 full years to analyze the very framework you constructed to ruin me. Security guided them toward the exit, not roughly. Merely sufficient firmness to underscore that control had shifted. They uttered no words. They didn't need to. They understood. This time, silence carried my signature.